Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Expectations with me, Craig. We're here, game week 28. I mean, it's just flown by, and it's only 10 more weeks until we're done with this season. I mean, this is the time where you're playing all your chips and, kind of putting all your FPL knowledge to good use because it's the tail end of the season and that's where you catch up in your mini leagues. And obviously, if you want to improve your overall rank, it's a great time too as well. Joining me today is none other than Joe FPL. Joe, how you doing?
Good. It's gonna be a very interesting next few game weeks, especially with double, and also there's a blank game week going on. So many people are using different strategies, and it's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why I love to have you on today's show, because we're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about this week's double game week. We're going to talk about next week's double game week, the blank. And there is, don't forget, that big, massive one in game week 36. We still don't know which fixtures they are going to be. But as the weeks go on, we're starting to learn a little bit more about what's going to happen and how the season's going to pan out, really, in terms of fixtures. And it doesn't make life for us FPL managers any easy. We're going to dive straight into it, Joe. I do want to see your game week 27 team and how you got on. Talk us through that.
So basically, what I did was I took a -8 because I wanted to avoid using the free hit. So I mean, it was pretty disappointing because I tripled up on Burnley, and I think Melly first got burnt by that as well. Yeah, burnt by Burnley, and it was quite disappointing because we all, I think most of us expected Mahrez to start, but he came in with a 1-pointer. I actually took a hit to bring in Mahrez, so it was a pity. Foster unexpectedly delivered against Man United. Pretty sure as a United fan yourself, must be pretty frustrating to watch.
I mean,
you watched live as well, right?
Yeah, I was there. I couldn't believe it. We did everything, to win that match. Just can't get that ball over the line, So it was a tough result to take.
Yeah, I mean, tough result to take, but Foster gave me a double-digit score.
Yeah, somehow. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, Captain Blank, I think many of us, Captain Wakehorse, didn't deliver. So, I mean, it was between Wakehorse and Kane for me. It's just one of those 50-50 decisions that didn't go my way once again. I think I had this kind of situations or circumstance over the past few game weeks, which is pretty frustrating, to say the least. But at least I think it's happening. I mean, it has happened to quite many of us who Captain Wakehorse. So I guess that's fine. Other than that, is pretty standard and underwhelming. So yeah.
Move on.
Move on. Exactly. I was expecting a damage limitation kind of week with many playing their free hit.
Yeah.
So glad that this score, although it's 59 -8, end up with 51. I think it matches somewhat.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
It's over the average, isn't it? And I think a lot of managers. I mean, myself included, I free hit, and we got about 50 something around that that kind of mark. So, I mean, is it a wasted chip? I think so, to be honest, because I think if you're playing free hit, you really want to be getting in the 60s, 70s kind of mark, really. Really gutted about how last week panned out for me, really. It's crazy when you watch the highlights and Weghorst scores a goal and it's disallowed.
It's offside,
it's just like those small things, and just very frustrating. I think it was Burnley they conceded against Leicester in the 70th minute, 80th minute, or something like that.
Yeah,
on course
against Leicester, I think they considered like 2 goals once Vardy came in about like 70 over minute or something.
Yeah. So frustrating times.
Exactly.
if you did play chips in that game week. Okay, forget about that. Let's forget about it. Let's move on to this game week. Double game week 28. And Joe,
let me
the
just
Hitmaster. You're
grab
playing your
my
wildcard,
team.
aren't you?
So yeah, I think the one of the reasons why I went for a hit to remove Salah and brought in Mahrez, is because I was pretty sure, I think almost 100% sure that I'm going to wildcard this game week to bring Salah back. So as you can see from my previous team and this team, I think almost everyone bar Trent, bar Salah, bar Kane, and Saka, everyone else is different.
Yeah.
So this is my current wildcard 28 team. Pretty set, unless there's in 1.5 hours time we get some weird rumors that are from credible sources. But I'm pretty set on this team at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, okay. First of all, how come you're playing your wildcard this early?
I think technically 28 is, to me, it's not that early because what I was thinking is I wanted to use one chip, which is the wildcard chip, to get players, to get double game week players on 28, to get double game week players on 29, and also to navigate blank game week 30 as well without the free hit. So it's sort of like one chip tackling or navigating through these three tricky fixtures. And I'm also planning to use my bench boost on game week 29, just to sort of get it out of the way so that I can slowly restructure my team towards for the end of the season. And also at the same time planning to hold on to dear life to my two free hit chips. Yeah, so that I can sort of I think the major weeks after game week 30 would be game week 33 and game week 36. So game week 33 is there is some teams who have a double and also some teams who blank.
Yeah.
So typically, it's a good opportunity to use the free hit, because I think one thing I wanted to add about the free hit, from what I can see, players playing free hit last week, is because there's only one team getting double game week and several teams blanking. So for me, this sort of reiterates, I personally feel free hit chip is more advantageous playing over double game weeks.
Okay.
Compared to blank game weeks, unless they are huge blanks where you only have 6 teams playing, example, and they are all like teams that you probably wouldn't want to bring them in at all. Then probably that is worth free hitting. But other than that, I think typically for me personally, I feel free hit gives more value on a double game week, especially when there are a few teams having a double game week. So my current plan, is to free hit on game week 33 and also game week 36, provided there isn't too many last minute injuries and things like that might jeopardize my game week 30 team. So this is my current draft. Maybe I just give some summary. So basically, if you look at the team in front of us, I think how many double game week here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 double game week players. And next week, if I bench boost, both of my keepers will have double game weeks, and then I would have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I will have 9 double game week players next week. And I have a free hit. I have a free transfer, which I plan to maybe offload one of the Chelsea defenders for Robertson.
Yeah.
So that's my current plan, provided there isn't any major injuries going on.
Yeah.
And then after that, this team itself, I mean, at the moment, I think I have about 8 players on game week 30. So with a free transfer and maybe a hit, I can go up to 10 players on game week 30. So I think that's fine to navigate game week 30. Then after that, once I get bench boost out of the way next week, I can slowly, redistribute my funds.
Yeah.
Yeah, on players, because I think there are a few weeks with some mini double game weeks as well. Maybe one or two
there
teams.
are. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So,
Well, I think there's some that aren't scheduled yet. I think it's Chelsea that's one of them. They've got some fixes that aren't scheduled, and so they're definitely. I think they blank in 30, and everyone was expecting one of their fixtures to be put into game week 30. So that didn't pan out. But if I'm not mistaken, they still have 2 games in hand, so they still need to be assigned to a game week, really. So yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's interesting that you've obviously gone with 2 Chelsea defenders. I think the most surprising one in this pick is Chris Wood, and I've seen you tweet about him during the week. I'm not gonna lie, it got me thinking. But I mean, 6 games for Newcastle, no goals. Yeah, I mean,
he actually came close against. He actually came close against Brentford. I think it was a post. I think so. I mean, for me, Wood is why I picked him is because I think purely based on the number of fixtures that he has, and purely based on how nailed he is in that team. And also, I've seen a few tweets from Newcastle fans that he's on penalties, if they ever get one.
Yeah.
Because I think, if not mistaken, last season, I read it on another tweet as well, that last season they only had like 1 penalty or something. But who knows? If Saint-Maximin comes back with his quick feet, maybe he can get a penalty. I don't know. Because I think I've read a tweet that when Newcastle had a sort of like a penalty shout or something, and Wood was the first person who grabs the ball and stands by. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I think I think purely is because he's nailed for 4 games, 90 minutes. He typically plays 90 minutes for Newcastle, and I don't know. I personally hope he's due.
I saw another really interesting tweet while I was scrolling through Twitter yesterday, and it was that I think it followed on from your Chris Wood tweet. I'm not sure if you retweeted it or what it was, but Chris Wood has scored. Has the best record.
Oh yeah, against Brighton. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I retweeted that.
You retweeted that, yeah. I mean, and then I was like, oh, okay. It's starting to make a bit of sense now. But I mean, I have seen obviously highlights of Chris Wood since he's made that move to Newcastle. Again, with Saint-Maximin, you'd expect better from him. I mean, you can see he's trying his hardest and everything, but something seems to be missing. It's not the same Chris Wood that we know from Burnley. So I think, I mean, with the stats and the record that he has against Brighton, it just takes that 1 goal, doesn't it, to just give him a bit of a
bit, definitely.
Yeah, and then you'd hope that he'll come good. So it's an interesting pick, but I think that's the beauty of a wild card as well, isn't it? I mean, you're allowed to have these picks. I mean, he's playing 2 games, like you said. He's pretty much nailed. Why not have a punt? And just see what happens. Because I mean, his ownership would be what, 2% maybe.
Yeah, let me just grab it. 2.3.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a massive differential if that comes through, because the fixtures are good. Newcastle are on fire right now.
Yeah, I don't expect much from him. Just a return over the double game week would
Yeah.
be massive for a player that is on 2% ownership. So yeah.
That's interesting. I like it. I like that pick. See, like looking forward, and obviously you've got the captain's armband on Reece James. I mean, did you watch Tuchel's press conference yesterday? You're confident that he's going to start?
I think firstly he mentioned that SP Laqueta is still out. At least for the Burnley game.
Yeah.
And Reece James went through training, no issues. So I would assume Tuchel would probably, wants to load up his tank with more minutes, to get it, because he's definitely one of those players that can boost Chelsea in terms of attack.
Yeah.
So I think they need it, especially from Reece James. So low key confident that he starts both games.
Okay, well, we'll take your expertise on that one. I mean, it is. I mean, I think Twitter's been, just full of talk about Reece James since that press conference, and the comments that Tuchel made. I think there's no doubt that he's an outstanding pick. It's just a case of whether he plays both games. And I think it was, it might have been Andy. Let's Talk FPL. Like he broke it down in terms of how much rest they have between the games for the next six games or whatever it is. And it works for the next 2 games for sure. I mean, there's a big period of rest in between. I think it's 5 days.
4 days. 4 days.
Yeah, 4 to 5 days.
In between Burnley and Norwich, I think they have 4 days.
Yeah.
And
then it goes down to like 3.
Yeah.
And then the Champions League kicks in.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's the worrying part.
Yeah, which is one of my plans for Gaming 29, bar nothing else happens, is probably James to Robertson.
Yeah. Okay. I can't think of anything more. I think Salah's an obvious choice. Rafinha are back in the teams. I'm seeing a lot of Rafinha back in teams.
I mean, we do get quite a lot of captaincy shout for Rafinha as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Rafinha, it's one of those because they've got obviously got a new manager, and we don't know how it's gonna pan out for them. We know, obviously, at what was it, Red Bull, that he was, he's a very similar type of manager in terms of the press. He's an exciting manager, but whether that translates over to the Premier League and he's able to do that, it'll be very interesting to see. So
just my comments on that, because I feel at least one thing's for sure. I don't think they will change much of their style in terms of attack. I still think Leeds will be a fairly attacking team. Instead of shifting to a team that sits back. So in an attacking team, if Rafinha plays, usually he'll be the ones to pull those strings.
Yeah.
And if Bamford's back in training, so who knows?
I read comments that he might not even be available for this season. I don't know how true that is.
But according to the manager, he's already back in training. So
okay. I missed the press conference, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he might be on a bench, I think.
Okay. I mean, that's massive news for Leeds and
exactly.
Rafinha owners as well, to be fair. It gives him more of a target to hit, with his set piece deliveries. And, I think it just helps Leeds all round, And, I mean, obviously sad to see Bielsa go, but very intrigued to see what Jesse Marsch brings to Leeds and whether he's able to keep them up. Interesting times. All right, we're going to move on, Joe. We're going to move on to okay, you talked about a bit of chip strategy already. Who would be the players to target in the next coming weeks with all that's been revealed so far in terms of fixtures? there has been, obviously we've got double game week this week, next week. We got some blanks in 30. It's all over the place right now. But someone in your position, I mean, I see you've only got one Wolves player. They're creeping up slowly up the table, aren't they? And not many people are taking notice. But we know their main players, someone like Jimenez, got benched last week.
Yeah.
Making it even tough. Podence got benched last week.
Yeah.
Cody probably plays every game. Sorry. Oh, sniffles. So yeah, I mean, are Wolves a team to target?
I mean, one thing about Wolves is, what makes them attractive is because they have a game on game week 30. But I think overall, they haven't really been delivering in terms of goals, and they've been conceding, those odd goals, one goal here and there, which makes owning their defense a little bit more frustrating. I personally think Jose Sa is a great goalkeeper to own.
Yeah.
But why I didn't go that route is because I'm planning to bench boost next game week. So I would want to have, the combination of Ramsdale and Dubravka next week. Both of them will get a double. So, which is why I went through that route instead of Jose Sa and Dubravka. So, but in terms of the attack, as we know from last game week, it's pretty frustrating because when we thought Raul Jimenez is as nailed as any Wolves player can be, suddenly he got he got benched, and there are many fans were saying that it wasn't a rest, because why rest a player like Jimenez against West Ham, where they are sort of like your arch rivals in a similar position in the table.
Correct. Yeah.
So some fans even said that he's in fact been dropped.
Oh wow!
Which sort of like threw a spanner to my thoughts, like because I had Jimenez, I think most of my drafts. So it gave me a little bit to think about, because they have Huang and Fabio Silva played last week in instead of Jimenez, and people say he did well. So still up in the air, and I probably wouldn't want to have a player that has a risk rotation, especially if I want to bench boost next week. So which is why I switched to Wood. Plus Jimenez hasn't been really delivering, or in fact Wolves themselves haven't really been delivering in terms of goals. So which is why I prefer Wood over Jimenez, due to the fact that one, he's cheaper, and he's nailed. And one more is Newcastle has a double. So and Newcastle is a team on form at the moment. So which is why I'm avoiding Jimenez, and probably because in terms of Wolves, they are at the moment, I think their best assets to own are their defense.
Yeah.
But I'm a bit reluctant to double up actually on the defense, which is why because it's also because of my strategy.
Yeah.
Of my chip strategy. You see, like example, if you look at Ben White currently is on my bench. If I double up on Ben White, if I double up, let's say I change White to Cody to double up with Kilman.
Yeah.
So who am I going to bench?
Yeah. Right.
I wouldn't want to bench Trent, to be honest. He's too dangerous to be benched.
Yeah.
I've
Tell
seen
Jurgen Klopp that. Jeez.
I mean, I've seen teams with Trent on the bench.
Yeah.
And that scares me, like the last time I didn't own Trent, he got like 24 points. So never again.
Yeah.
And some might ask, why not Jose Sa with Kilman? If I put Jose Sa with Dubravka, then next week when I play the bench boost, I only have it's not both keepers who be having the double game week. So it's a little bit team dependent as well. Why I go only a single Wolves defense, and why do I go Kilman is because he is the only player I think in Wolves at the moment, I think besides Sa, if I'm mistaken, that plays 90 minutes in all the matches this season so far for Wolves. So technically, I mean he's as nailed as Sa in that team at the moment. So which is why I went for Kilman.
Just a couple of one other player that I want to talk about, which you didn't really highlight, was Podence.
Yep.
Yeah, he's one of the main attacking players. He got benched as well with Jimenez.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts about picking him as an FPL option?
Okay. See, if you look, one thing why people avoid Wolves midfield in general is because, firstly, I think like I mentioned just now, their attack hasn't really been delivering. And the fact that there are so many midfield options for this game week and for the next game week, besides these teams, you have players like, besides these players that I have right now, you have players like Ryan Frasier, Willock, Joe Willock, you have even Mason Mount, you have Coutinho, you have just so many different players, so the midfield options are just so many, and Podence or Neto or whoever's from the Wolves team, they are not as attractive as the other options, and you have players like Ryan Fraser, he's currently pulling strings for the
that was my next question to you, Ryan Fraser.
Yeah, he's only 5.3.
Yeah.
And Podence is like what, 5.5.
Yeah.
So I mean, Ryan Fraser is a player I really want to have, as well.
Yeah.
But it's because of my current team, and I have trouble. Let's say if I bring in Ryan Fraser instead of Saka, let's say,
yeah,
or Kulusevski, who am I going to bench? That's another question.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, and Fraser doesn't have a game week on game week 30.
Yeah,
which is why I opted for Kulusevski instead of Fraser, because I think before I brought in Kulusevski and before Spurs have their confirmed game week 30 fixture, I was actually on Ryan Fraser.
Okay.
So
there's been a lot of talk. The resurgence of Ryan Fraser. I think the danger is if you've gone with Wood already. Is it a bit too risky to kind of do that double up right now?
Definitely. I think personally, if I got in Ryan Fraser, I probably wouldn't go Chris Wood.
Yeah,
I would probably go.
I think it's one or the other, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because I think Newcastle, although they are a form team at the moment, I personally wouldn't triple up. I've seen teams tripling up, but it's not for me. Firstly, if I triple up, then that's 3 players without game week 30.
Yeah.
Unless that's why it depends on the strategy as well, and depends on the team. Unless you go for, let's say, free hit on game week 30, then probably you can afford to go for options like this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we also need to consider post game week 30. You'll be stuck with 3 Newcastle
unless
players.
you've got chips to play, right?
Yeah. So after game week 30, actually Newcastle's fixture isn't really that enticing, to be honest. So it will be a tough post game week 30 for them.
Okay, fantastic. We're going to move on. And there are a lot of questions coming in, so we're going to get to them as well. I'm actually going to start, Joe, on since you're on the topic. One Helmi says, so would you choose Ryan Frasier over Willock?
Okay, I think I've seen several tweets comparing Willock and Frasier. So basically, Frasier, he is in terms of XA, he's higher than Willock, but Willock has a higher goal threat.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And Willock is a streaky player. Based on what we've seen last season, when he start scoring, usually it comes in a bunch. So I think currently he's already on two goals in a row. Is not a second.
Yeah.
But one thing about Willock is that will Saint Maximin's return affect his minutes? That's a question some of us have to ask. And Ryan Frasier, I think he is nailed in that Newcastle team. Not just because of his current form, but also because his relationship with the manager. They've worked so closely before in Bournemouth.
Back in the day,
yeah, back in the day. So they know each other, they understand each other, and I think currently why Frasier is having a good run of form is I would say credit to the manager as well. It's probably the manager that worked through him to bring out the best in him. So I would think in terms of rotation risk, Ryan Frasier is probably lower than Willock, and also in the same time, Frasier is cheaper. I think by like what 0.4 or 0.5 at the moment. I think because Joe Willock just had a.
I think he's about 5.6, isn't he?
I think he had a price rise.
Okay.
I think just this morning, if I'm mistaken,
or
yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, he's 5.8 now.
Okay.
So Frasier is 5.3. So that's 0.5 difference. So yeah. So if it was me, I would go for Frasier over Willock. This at this point of time.
Okay, fantastic. Zaid asks, will Salah be a differential captain this week?
Okay, I've seen a tweet from Fantasy Football Fix. They had this machine learning test algorithm going on, where basically, if I'm not mistaken, they track current transfers. Who's in, which players are being sold, which players are being bought, and then from there, they use machine learning in terms of how many players will captain certain football player in their team. So they do a projection of their effective ownership. So Salah, believe it or not, he is projected to be about 124% effective ownership on game week 28, even though he only has one game week. So in terms of differential captain, I think Salah is not a differential captain this week. He will still be heavily captain because he's Salah, and also because of his record against West Ham United. It's pretty crazy. I think so far he only blanked once.
Yeah,
against West Ham, which is a scary
stat
as a non-captainer of Salah. So no, Salah is not a captain. I don't think Salah is a differential captain this week.
Okay. A lot of people going on that Salah train, and as you would expect, I think the West Ham fixture is a good one for him, if I'm being perfectly honest. Mm-hmm. Magic asks, Joe, does this work if I have only one free hit left? I think he means the wildcard play.
Yeah, why? I still think it works if you only have one free hit left. because you're basically trying to use one chip to navigate through 3 challenging game weeks, which I feel has had its value. So yeah, why not? I still think it works.
Yeah, it's a tough one because now we're coming to the tail end of the season. There aren't chips are being played, and it depends what strategy you're going to use towards the end of the season. I think a couple of people have tweeted what is supposedly the best chip strategy to use, but you just don't know because even now, like we can talk about what the best chip strategy is, but there's still fixtures that haven't been arranged yet.
Yeah.
And that obviously plays a part in when you're going to play your chips. So I think for now, I mean, obviously I don't think he has a bench boost or anything, but this would be a nice time to kind of go into that and navigate as well the blank game week that we have, not too far away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, which is why I'm holding on my 2 free hits because free hit, the advantage of a free hit is that you can react immediately. You can react immediately after a game week instead of trying to build up your free transfers to build up your team towards a certain game week. But because up until now, we still don't know what's going on. We still don't know what will go on in game week 33, on game week 36, which is why I personally feel free hits for those game weeks has its value because we can react immediately, without worrying of any loss in value or any consequences.
Perfect. We're going to move on to the next question. My double game week 28 is Foster, Trent, Saiss, Cucurella, Salah, Rafinha, captain, Foden, Saka, Watkins, King, Jimenez, bench, De Gea, Cancelo, Tierney, Bowen. He's planning to do -4 or -8 for Foden to Ramsey, Coutinho, or Willock, Cucurella to Rudiger, James, King to Broja. Is it worth it? So that's the first team.
Okay, let's see. Foden to Ramsey, Cucurella to, let's say Foden to Coutinho, Cucurella to James, King to Broja. Is it worth it? Personally, I would probably do only the first 2, and unfortunately, I think keeping King is still the play here because he's also having double game weeks.
But I'm gonna pull you up on that. He does have a double game week, but he's absolutely useless.
Yeah, I mean, in terms, yeah, exactly. but for a hit, like, it. Yeah, I mean, it's King. Personally, I own King as well. I think past 2 game weeks really frustrating to watch, but Foden, yeah. I mean, why not? Just go ahead. Yeah, King. I don't know. I mean, I still see some players holding on to King, hoping to finally have that return.
Okay, Joe, I'm gonna be straight with you. You'd rather have Broja than King. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I think that transfer makes sense. I mean, I'm talking as a King owner who's had King by default for the past 5 weeks. I mean, I brought him in for 1 double game week, and then just subsequently after that, he's always just had double game weeks for some weird reason. And I just can't seem to get rid of the guy. Seriously, every week. I mean, I'm like, okay, he's going out, but he ends up having a double game week. But then now when I see you've got to play Broja, who's cheaper, got good fixtures, is playing for a team that's in form. Yeah, it might take 4 points, but I think it's worth it. I really do, because he's got a double game week as well. I think he scored in the FA Cup as well midweek.
Yep. He's got
that'll give him
the
a
last
bit of
goal.
confidence.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead,
-4, -8. What do you think MX Crush should do?
I think in terms of the fixtures, probably -8.
-8, yeah. So Foden to Ramsey, Coutinho, Willock.
Coutinho maybe,
Yeah.
and Cucurella to
I was
James.
actually quite surprised to not see Coutinho in your wildcard team, to be honest. And I know Funch probably is the issue for that.
No, I mean I do have 2.7 in the bank,
Oh,
so I could actually do Ramsey to Coutinho.
yeah. I'm surprised you haven't, to be fair.
But I don't know. I mean, yes, he's Coutinho, but whether should I have the funds instead? Because I want, like I said, my plan next week is to bring in Robo. So if I brought in Coutinho instead of Ramsey, then I wouldn't have the funds to bring in Robo next game week.
Yeah,
So yeah, which is why I stick on to Ramsey and because he's such a great enabler, 4.8, I can also bench him for the next few game weeks and still fine, I guess.
Okay, so you stick with that, yeah?
Yeah, at the moment, yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next question. FPL Jedi Show. On Newcastle, if say they're leading 1-0, they will want to let him do the penalty to help give him some confidence, break it down. I think they're talking about Chris Wood here, which does make sense, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
You want your striker who's not scored since he's come to the club. Yeah, I think this makes sense, and you're probably right there. Moving on to the next one. Sombu G. Would you go to Robbo and Ramsey or James and Kulos? Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Well, I know what you're going to go because you got two of them in your team.
Yeah, I think personally, I would. I mean, in between these two, I think James is dangerous not to own this game week, to be honest. So, from this,
you think James is that essential this week?
I hope so because I stuck the armband on him, but I could see him. I mean, this is the best opportunity to bring him back to speed. To be honest,
yeah.
Against Burnley and against Norwich, and with Azpilicueta not back yet. They probably want to bring him back to speed as soon as possible before the Champions League. So I would think these two matches are probably the best opportunity for Tuchel to do that. At least I hope so.
Okay.
So out of these options, James and Kulusevski.
Makes sense. Next one. Livramento and Ait Nouri in my starting 11. Yes or no?
I got to counter that. Why not both? They both have a double game week.
Yeah. I'm guessing he's probably got Trent in his team. I'm guessing probably another Chelsea defender. And he probably doesn't want to go 4 at the back. I mean, just assuming here. But, I mean, it's almost certain that he's got Trent, right?
Yeah.
So that's one spot. I can understand why he doesn't want to drop him. I'd have expected him to bring in a Chelsea defender.
Oh, I mean...
Okay, that's the second question. Should I bench Mahrez to have
Livramento, I think.
Louis or Marty currently having midfield Coutinho, Havertz, Kulusevski, Mahrez, and Salah? There's his problem. I would bench Mahrez, to be honest.
But I will probably sell Mahrez. Because he's just so frustrating to own.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about... I'll probably just bench him for this week. I mean, if he's already taken hits. I mean, I can't... I think he's playing a chip, if I'm being honest with you. Because I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but I'd be very surprised if he's got Havertz in his team.
Yeah.
and he's got Coutinho, Havertz, Kulu. Oh, tough one. I mean, we need to know more, I think, in regards to this, Roger. So,
okay. If you ask me about, let's go back to question one. Between Livramento and Ait Nuri, I will probably play Livramento.
Okay.
Firstly, I think because Kyle Walker-Peters is out, so Livramento should start. And plus, Livramento is ever since he came in from injury, he has been doing really well.
Yeah.
For that team, and also in FPL wise as well. He got a 12-pointer, and he got an 8-pointer, and he has a double game week. So between these two, I will go for Livramento. Because I Nuri, he's still a rotational risk, to be honest. If you're on wildcard, I don't think he's on wildcard. If not, he would probably remove Mahrez already.
Yeah.
But, Nuri, he was also benched, I think, last game week. Marshall played, I think. So I will go for Livramento.
Livramento, yeah. And what about his question two?
Question two, bench Mahrez. I would assume Mahrez would be benched by Pep as well, because I think this is the derby. They would probably want to bring in more. I don't know. It's hard to. It's really hard to guess. When you think he's gonna play, he's bench. When you think he's gonna be bench, he suddenly plays.
I think we were all certain that he was gonna play last week, weren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Which is why so many of us brought him in. So, but maybe I would bench Mahrez as well, just because Livramento and Ait Nuri has double game weeks.
Okay, great. Going to move on to the next question. Magic asks, Joe, considering Wood hasn't scored since game week 14, what have I missed that made you get him? So I think you did explain it just now.
Yeah.
You go again.
Just
brief.
Okay. Cheap. Nailed is not just nailed to start, but nailed 90 minutes. Hopefully Dew will go. He did came close against Brentford. Heard from few fans that he's the designated penalty taker right now. And he has 2 double game weeks in a row. So yeah, what's not to like?
Yeah, those are big ones. I think with Chris Wood, like I said, I like it. On a wild card, I think you always have to have that one person that has a low ownership, and with him having a double game week as well, why not?
I was on Saint Maximin.
Yeah, but there's a bit of doubt about him, right?
Yeah, because he did announce on Instagram that he's back. The reason why he went to Monaco is not because of a transfer rumor, but because he went there for medical reasons to get him back to speed. In one of the clinics there. So he announced on Instagram that he's back, but I think the manager says that he hasn't trained yet. Whether he trains today or that's another question. But which is what made me went for Chris Wood instead.
Okay. Good question. Said. Next one. Hi Joe, why not consider Mount?
Firstly, I think Chelsea. If you're going for a Chelsea attack, Mount would be the first priority, the first name on the list. But I don't know. In terms of that midfield, in terms of that Chelsea midfield, it's still a little bit rotational risk at the moment.
Yeah.
So Mount could easily be benched, or play, but and plus Mount doesn't have a game week 30. I would get players that play on game week 30. If you look at my current team, except for Salah, all of the midfields they have a game week 30 fixture. So which is why I did not consider Mount. But if I'm on free hit game week 30, I might consider him. I might get Mount
Right
instead
now,
of
who would be your Chelsea midfielder that you pick?
Mount.
Mount.
Yeah.
And what about the likes of Havertz? I mean, he's played up front in that false nine position. I know we got burnt against Norwich, but I mean, who's starting up there now? Is it Lukaku, Werner? I mean, they both scored midweek.
Yeah, it could easily be them. Because I think against teams like Burnley and Norwich, I think they have to dig deep. It's not a team that they can counter. So I mean, it's not a team that they can counter easily, because I would expect Burnley especially to sit pretty deep and absorb the attacks. So probably they need someone like Mount.
Yeah.
Rather than Havertz. I don't know. I could be wrong, but many Chelsea fans say that currently, Havertz being in that team makes the team looks pretty solid. So many expect Havertz to be nailed. But we never know, because there's just so many other players
Options.
so many other options for the manager at that particular position.
Okay. Gonna go on to Discord in my head. James, as a captain, I want it because of high ceiling, but I think it's too risky as he might be benched versus Norwich. Thoughts?
Yeah, definitely there's an element of risk when it involves Rhys James, because initially my captain is on Rudiger, but after listening to Tuchel's press conference, so it made me lean on James more, because like I think we've discussed, the 4 games between Burnley and Norwich, which I think is sufficient enough rest for James. I don't expect James to play 90 minutes on both games. I would expect, I mean, at least I hope that he starts both games, but maybe at most nick at the 60th or even the 70th minute.
Yeah.
For both, so which is good enough for me.
Okay, we're going to go into the next one. Next one's a good one as well, by the way. From Blue Nicks _99, is Ramsdale to Dubravka to add another double game week player on bench boost, 2 sideways. Dubravka would start game week 29 and benched for Jose Sarr in game week 30.
Is Ramsdale to Dubravka to add another? Oh, okay. So I think what Blue Nicks is playing is, I think he's playing the bench boost on game week 28. So he currently has Ramsdale and Jose Sarr.
Yeah.
So I think he wants to move Ramsdale to Dubravka and bench boost in this game week. Which I feel, I don't feel is sideways, because basically you still have a player, you still have a goalkeeper on game week 30, and you have an extra, and you have a player with an extra fixture on your bench boost, which and it's a free transfer. If you don't have any other fires to put out, I will go ahead, to add an additional fixture in your bench boost.
Yeah, so you like it, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Not sideways at all?
Not really sideways. It's a little bit diagonal, I would say.
Okay. Question: are you bench boosting 28? Yes, he is.
Yes. I mean, yes, as of now, my plan is to bench boost on game week 29.
Okay. Are you playing free hit in blank game week 30?
Wait, isn't this Nicholas? Isn't this Nitro? I think this is Nitro. Yeah.
Look at him trying to sneak in and ask his questions.
Using his personal account.
Using personal account, exactly.
I'm not playing my free hit on game week 30 at the moment. It's a little bit limiting. in terms of my options. But as I mentioned, I would really want to keep my free hits for Game Week 33 and Game Week 36, which is why I choose to use wildcard and try to balance out the players to navigate through Game Week 30 with maybe 9 or even 10 players, hopefully, barring any injuries. So at the moment, no, I'm not playing my free hit on Game Week 30.
Next one is one Zilhelmi. Heard James will be bench or rotation. I think Rudiger captain is safe, I guess. Where did you hear this?
No idea.
Don't believe everything that's on Twitter.
But in terms of I mean, definitely Rudiger being captain is definitely safer. But his floor is high. His floor is high because he's nailed, but his ceiling is lower than James, if you get what I mean. So yeah, I mean Rudiger, yes, he's definitely a safer captain to James. If you not really want to
risk it
to chase in terms of rankings and the rest of your team looks decent, I think Rudiger is also a decent captain choice for this game week.
No chips for Roger Shane. Just going back to his previous questions.
Yep.
And his defense is Trent, Cancelo, and Eight Nuri or Marty.
I think Liv is Livramento.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, wow, he has Cancelo as well. I would play Trent, Cancelo, Livramento, and Eight Nuri.
Okay. Rafinha or Kulusevski? You've got both as well.
It depends on which other Spurs player you have. If you have Kane, I think you should go for Rafinha.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, in terms of because I think Kulusevski, yes, he's on form at the moment, but Lucas Moura is back. He's fit again. Would that affect his minutes? I hope not, because I own Kulusevski as well. But in between Rafinha and Kulusevski, I'll probably go for Rafinha as a bigger priority.
Okay, just going to scroll through it. Joe, have you gone for White and Kilman instead of Seiss and Tierney due to money in the bank?
Okay, I'm not sure. Heard rumors, not sure how true. That Seiss is also a little bit of a rotational risk. Tierney, he's good to own, but whether does he, I don't know, injury prone, but I think he should be fine. Why I gone for White and Kilman is because firstly I think they are cheaper, and if you look at my team, if I play 3 at the back, I'll definitely play Trent, Rudiger, and James.
Yeah,
making me benching White and Kilman, which is why I choose cheaper players to bench to keep more in the bank. Because I say, post Game Week 30, I'm trying to restructure my team away from such a expensive bench, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. Thoughts on Tiago Silva?
Great option. I think. I mean, although he's 36, but he's still playing at the highest level. He's probably not as nailed as Rudiger, but definitely more nailed than James, in my opinion. So good option to have. If you cannot afford James or Rudiger, Tiago Silva is a good option.
Best midfielder under 7.3. Unfortunately, not enough for the Magician. Already have Saka and Rafinha.
Best midfield under 7.3. So let's see what 7.3 can give you. Midfielders. Oops. What Prowse is a decent option to own for this week.
Yeah, he's going under the radar a bit, isn't he?
Yeah, a little bit. He's currently, 10%, still pretty differential. I think Ward-Prowse is one of those players. Ramsey, he's a great enabler, and he has that goal threat as well, and he's nailed in that team, in the Aston Villa team. I think Kulusevski is also one player. He's on form at the moment, and he, ever since he joined from Juventus, I think he's doing really well. Slot right into that Spurs team.
Yeah.
Let's see who else. I mean, he says he already has Rafinha and Saka. So who else? Frasier. Good. I mean, good.
Yeah, 5.1 is it?
5.3.
5.3.
Yeah, he's only 5.3, and a team on form. Good option to have as well. Willock is also a good option if you want a player that has more goal threat. So yeah, these are the players that I would go for. But of course, if you're on wildcard, I would try to get that 0.1 or 0. Let me see. Coutinho is 0. Coutinho is he's only 0.1 away from what you can afford. So I would, if you're on wildcard, I would try to get that 0.1 million. So, yep.
Why did you decide against Jimenez? I think you discussed that already. Not nailed. Potentially was dropped last week, which was a bit of a shock. Not exactly firing as well. So we've done that. Wanzo Helmi says, I have Son.
I think this is the answer to my question whether he has any other Spurs asset.
This was the Kulusevski one, right?
Yeah, so if you have Son already, then I will go for Rafinha.
Okay, nice and easy there. Mohammed Hazik, hello, fellow gentlemen. Make rain arrow bestow upon us this game week. Should I sell Cancelo on a wild card? Oh.
Okay, this is a good question because I think a few days ago I was on another show with Pras and Sonaldo. So in that draft, one of my drafts, I have Cancelo. So they sort of challenged me, challenged my thinking. Like why do I still keep Cancelo? Am I going to play him in the derby? That's one of the questions I get, and I said no. I might bench him on the derby because it's against United, blah blah blah, and I have other players that have double game week. And Cancelo has only one fixture. If let's say you bench him on 28, he only has one fixture on 29, and he blanks on 30.
Yeah.
So in terms of the amount of fixtures, it's not as compared to other options. All other options has more fixtures than Cancelo.
Yeah.
So personally, for me, if I'm on a wild card, which is why I decided to drop Cancelo on a wild card, but keeping money in the bank as well, because you would want to bring him back after game week 30 because he's that kind of player. He's that type of player that can deliver, week in week out against any team. So the reason why I dropped Cancelo is because due to the limit. Due to he don't have that many fixtures compared to other players.
Correct. Okay.
Yep. So, yeah.
That's fine. Would you consider Jimenez for Wood?
Not at the moment.
Not at the
moment. Yeah.
Okay. The final question is from Mohammed Hazik. Who's the captain? Sorry?
That's so many players to choose from.
Yeah. Who the captain between James, Rudiger, Salah, Kane, Rafinha, Ramsey, Coutinho, Jimenez, Broga, and Adams.
If you like to go for a safe route, I would go either Salah or Rudiger. If you like to go for a more adventurous route, you can go for Rafinha and Coutinho and James. Yeah. So other than these players, I probably wouldn't captain the rest.
Okay, fair enough.
So because I mean, like why? Because I would say Salah has a great record against West Ham and he's highly owned, so it's a safe option. Rudiger is because he's nailed in that team, and his floor is high. So let's assume that, let's say Chelsea get at least one clean sheet and plus appearance points. That's 10 points over 2 game weeks. I mean, over 2 fixtures. So I mean, that's almost 10 points, almost 2 fixtures in 2 fixtures. So that's pretty decent for a captain return. Rafinha and Coutinho is because they are sort of like the talisman in their respective teams. So they are involved in set pieces, they're involved in attacks. So the chances of them bringing a return is higher. And James, he's James. He's so explosive on that right hand side. Yeah, he's a cheaper trend. And so far, signs are pointing towards him being able to start both games. So yeah, okay. So that's the reason.
I think that's a great way. Sorry about that. That is a great way to end the show. Joe, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. I know you had a lot going on today.
Yep, and there's only half an hour to the deadline.
Exactly, half an hour. So if you haven't made your transfers, please do. We say half an hour, but I would say 20 minutes just to avoid any errors or any system failures.
Any server crashes.
Yeah, you don't want any crashes or anything like that. But we do hope that all the help that Joe's given you today does help your team in Game Week 28. As we said, there's a lot of games to manage over the course of the coming weeks. Wish you all the best. Joe, thank you so much.
No worries.
Yeah, and all the best for Game Week 28. And wishing everyone on here. Yeah, you got something to say?
I mean, wish you all the best as well.
Yeah, well, I need it. I need it more than you, definitely. And thank you, everyone, for watching. If you aren't already, do follow Joe on Twitter. It's @JoeFPL. Do follow me, Craig, @CraigMorais11. Do follow FPL Expectations @FPL Expectations. And you haven't already, do click the subscribe button down below and get notified every time we upload a video and do one of these, which we do every week. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a fantastic Game Week 28. And may the FPL gods be with you. Over and out.